Okay. We could not leave our fans without our beloved entrance music video, could we, Rico?
No, we could not. I mean, my gosh, that is style.
That is style. That's styling. And this is Styling the Podcast. And we are live for the very first time here streaming on YouTube. I'm one of your co-stars, the Master Emir, along with my co-star, ladies and gentlemen, my tag team partner, former WWE Tag Team Champion, AEW Superstar, the stylist, Rico Casatino.
I'm styling.
You are styling. It's a wonderful, beautiful weekend. We're racking up. Our viewers are coming in now. Remember, we got the super chats here tonight. We've got a bunch of stuff. We're going to go through the rules and regulations, though, first, before we begin, because there are going to be some rules here. We are answering questions. We are going to be talking about Chris Benoit tonight. We have two special guests joining us at 6:15 and 6:45, respectively, so stay tuned for them. But through the entire show, we're going to be answering questions. And to answer questions live on the air, you can use a super chat. I'm going to give you the rules now. So a $2 super chat will get you a shout out. We'll read your comment on the air as long as it's appropriate. You know, keep everything appropriate here on Styling. For a $5,
keep it styling. Keep it styling.
Keep it styling. For a $5 super chat, we will answer a question. There'll be some limited time on this because we want to get all the questions answered. And then for $10, you can have a little bit extra time there and the answer to your question. But also, we've got a few other things, haven't we, Rico? That
yes,
are available
we do.
Here live.
As only styling can provide.
Do you want to start there, Rico? Do you want to show them what you've got there?
Yep. What I'm gonna do for those who hit the super chat, I am going to sign an 8x10 right in front of you. I'm going to address it to whoever it is, and I will sign it right in front of you, so you need no authentication. It's going to be signed by me and mailed to you.
That's right. And also, likewise, right here, if you want your collectible, the Master.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's right, Rico. You remember this guy. You remember this guy.
Oh, I know that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah, so if you want a signed, we're going to sign it live here. If you want this live, mailed to your house, as you see at the bottom of the screen there, super chat, red sticker, $50 or more, you'll get it signed live on the air and mailed to you, either Rico or myself, the Master. But they're also available as a duet, aren't they, Rico?
Yes, we are. $50 for 8x10, $25 for yours. A combo for $75. Both photos will be signed in front of you, shown on the internet, and mailed to you personally by us here at Victoire, the Masters of Wrestling.
The Masters of Wrestling, indeed. Someone put in the comment there, slick photo. Are you talking about Rico, or are you talking about the Master there? It's Leonor's Mind. Lenonor's Mind. How do you pronounce that? Forgive me if I've mispronounced the name there. So, but yeah, we're getting the comments coming in there, so keep them coming in. So, Rico, what else? We've got WrestleCon coming on before we get into
Yes, we do. This week coming up. And I am so looking forward to that. I went to New York City a few weeks ago and did a convention. My very first convention without the WWE umbrella. And I'll tell you what, the fans were fantastic. I had people come up and show me pictures from 20 years ago when I took pictures with them and pictures with them now. And it was just amazing. These fans do not forget. And my gosh, I was so humbled. I was so honored to visit and talk with these people. My gosh, it just touched my heart. And I want to do WrestleCon. And the week after that, I'm going to be in Indianapolis for the Squared Circle. And on top of that, I am going to be interviewed by one of the premier podcasters out there. I can't give you the name, but I'm telling you, I am looking so forward to being interviewed by this man. He's well respected, and I can't wait to answer his questions. I don't know what they're going to be, but this man is so interesting, and he asks the most pertinent questions. It's an honor to be on his show.
Yeah, thank you, Rika. I appreciate you saying that about me. It's wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, a little bit of fun, a little bit of humor there. But yeah, Vegas is going to be great. Any of our viewers who are going to be coming to WrestleCon, make sure you make your way over to the booth. I will be starting off. It will be Paul Roma, Jim Powers, Mario Mancini, and then Rico will be joining us for one day. I believe it's the Saturday, right? You're coming in, Rico, on the 18th.
I've got
Nice.
styling contracts I gotta fulfill. You know,
Yeah.
I cut a little piece out so I can be there at least for one day. You
Yeah.
know, my services are required all over the world. You know, so but I did carve out some time for Vegas and WrestleCon because I know Vegas has a lot of fans. So I cut out some special time for them.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, you're also going to see me, the master, walking around. You may also see Delirium, Slade, and McCallion. So be careful.
Well, they better show up. I mean, my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
I've
what the master's all about.
I've instructed them that we're going to be in
There you
Las
go.
Vegas.
Then
So we'll be
close
there.
paste. That's it.
I got to warn you, though, Rika. If MXM collection are anywhere within the vicinity, won't be held responsible for what's going to happen. But
well, we just have a no holds barred match right there, right at the Westgate, right there. Anything goes. I can't promise MXM won't show up.
Well,
I've told them to lay back, but men are men, and these are two men.
Well, you know what? For the benefit of our audience, if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to go back in time into the Styling playlist and go to the episode where MXN, the so-called AEW superstars, appeared on Styling the Pod. I was gracious enough to invite them on. I was gracious enough, Rico. I was gracious enough to invite them on for your benefit. I allowed them to try and explain why they abandoned you at AEW. What was it? Dream Slam or Dream
Zero Hour?
Yeah, 0 Hour. And they couldn't explain themselves. Instead, they acted like children.
Watch it.
Well,
we're getting close.
We are getting
some
close.
thin skin.
I'll tell you what else we're getting close to. Yes, Rico. I'll tell you what else we're getting close to. As I look at the time, we're getting close to our first guest. He's going to be appearing approximately 8 minutes right here tonight. So
I can't wait for him. I've gone way back for this man. This man is just intense.
Yeah.
Intense.
He's intense.
I knew him when he was a beginner, and what he's blossomed into warms my heart. I can't wait for him to come on.
Yep. He is a
wonderful talent.
International superstar. He will be joining us. He is an NWA superstar presently.
Yeah.
So he will be joining us. So make sure you stick around for that. And again, if you've got a question, you know the rules. So we can go ahead and start taking those whenever you would like. But the topic we're going to be discussing today, Rico, a little later with all of our guests, is one that, you know, has some controversy that surrounds it. And a lot of people, do you want to fill the viewers in as to the little bit of the backstory and the whys and wherefores and what have you?
Oh my gosh, it's about a gentleman I looked up to. I worked with for 5 years, who helped me put some of my matches together when I was in the beginning. I would come up with a move and I would ask him and other wrestlers for their opinion where to put it in a match, and he never steered me wrong. He was always a calm person, pleasant, and kind of a mentor. You could always go to him. And then the tragedy that happened that besmirched his name is, it's still unclear. I mean, I look at it as a friend of his. I met his son, his wife, and as a friend, I am confused. As a law enforcement officer, I think there's some unanswered questions that need to be answered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's such a, when I started thinking about this subject a few weeks ago, just something didn't sit right with me. I mean, obviously, anything ominous like this, we're talking about Chris Benoit, and he,
Yeah.
the tragic end to his life, for whatever, if demons plagued him and got him into this state and it caused that to happen, or, there are many theories out there, and we're not going to go, hypothesizing too much. We're just going to try and delve into what we know. And again, with our guests, who are some
We're
of
going to try and dig up some fact,
yeah,
dig up some real truth that might help somebody eventually give an answer. To me, this is just like the Kennedy assassination. Nobody knows what happened. Everybody's got these theories, the Warren Commission, this and that. This ranks up there, especially with a talent like Chris Benoit.
yeah,
A lot of questions need to be answered, and we're here to possibly raise questions, answer questions, help fans understand. That's what we're here to do. You
yeah.
know, you can't erase the man. You can't erase him. He did too many great things in this business to erase him. We're just trying to understand what happened.
Because Rico, actually, our guests today were some of the last people to communicate with Chris, weren't they, on that fateful day?
As I was told, and we are going to get into that and hopefully get some answers tonight.
Yeah,
That's the whole focus,
yeah.
for the fans, for me, for the world. Just get some answers and the truth. That's all we want, is the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a dark situation. We're sure, so we are going to break it up here and there. We're not going to just go dark mode for an hour and a half. We are going to give you
No,
some other tidbits here and there. We are going to have some fun. We are going to have some laughs, and we're going to have some questions from some of our viewers. So
yeah,
many subjects. But while we wait for our guest to enter the studio, our first guest. Let's talk about a little bit about what's going on right now, Rico. So we saw WrestleMania next weekend. It's
yep.
heating up. I actually
Oh yeah.
I was in Target today, and I happened to walk by the magazine stand, and there's a picture of Cody Rhodes right there in one of the magazines, one of the TV magazines. I'm like, wow, wrestling's really made it back up to prominence. I haven't seen that in a long time.
No, it really has. It's becoming mainstream again.
Yeah, I remember back in the days, you'd see. Well, actually, I don't recall actually ever. To be honest, I thought of something, but that was actually one of the wrestling magazines I thought of, not on a mainstream.
Actually, talk shows, Johnny Carson, those talk shows, Arsenio, stuff like that. The wrestlers would appear on them like after they won a championship. I never really saw them in like People magazine or anything like that,
Yeah.
but they were on talk shows when they hit big enough. I remember Hulk. I remember the interview with that reporter that asked Dr. Schultz, "This is fake." And he got his ear rang.
Yeah.
You don't ask a professional, you don't ask a professional police officer. What you do is fake. You're going to get slapped in the ear. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, because I would
Yeah.
slap him in the ear. This is his profession. You don't ask a chef, "Oh, what your profession is fake." You're going to get stabbed.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
don't question
Respect.
somebody's profession, especially when
Yeah.
they pour their heart and their soul into it. And I don't care what it is, any job. You
Mhm.
know, you don't question somebody's decision in life. You just
No,
don't do it. You're going to get
you
your
don't-
bell rung.
certain things you don't do. You don't spit in the wind. You don't question their profession.
You
You
don't.
don't tug on the master's cape. That's
Oh, the
it.
Master's Cape. I
Yeah.
kind of remember that song. Did it say Master's Cape?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, all right. I've been hit too many times in the head with a chair and been put through many tables by the Dudleys, so it might be the Master's Cape. I'll give you that one.
Rico, what's your favorite WrestleMania? What is
Oh
your
my
favorite
gosh.
one? Top to bottom, card matches, theme. What's your best one?
My gosh, I loved all of them. Every one of them in the earlies, like 1, 2, 3, they all told a story. Everything was a culmination of the whole year, just like it is in baseball, football, the culmination of winners, losers, and everything, and the underdogs coming together. That's what WrestleMania is about. You know,
Yeah.
I can't pick one. You
Yeah.
know, later on, I kind of was let down a little bit. And then for a few years after 20, I was kind of let down with the mainliners and stuff like that. But now it's starting to pick up again. There's Cody Rhodes, you know, and Seth Rollins and CM Punk, Randy Orton. Everybody seems to be stepping up their game, which I
Yeah.
think this business needs. And now, even now, the outside media is getting involved. Like you said, you saw Cody Rhodes on a regular magazine. Well,
Mhm.
Cody Rhodes, I think is, you know, he carried the company for a while. He backed off a little bit and now he's carrying it again, but he's got support. And that's
Yeah.
what I think was lacking before. They leaned on John Cena, they leaned on The Rock, they leaned on Stone Cold. There was no co-stars. When you have a
No.
movie, you got the stars at starring roles and you got the co-star roles.
Mhm.
And that's why the Academy Awards has the best supporting actor for the stars, because
Yeah.
the supporting actors help the actors. And basically, yes, we are characters, we're actors, and you need a support group. And
Rico,
now we're getting it
you're
back.
you're an act. I'm not acting. When the master talks, I'm not acting. Rico, are
Well,
you
neither
acting?
am I.
I thought it was
No,
real.
I'm not acting.
I'm
Oh,
not. I'm not acting.
and I'm
All
not
right,
choreographed either.
that's right.
But
And
I'm
ladies,
just making a comparison
yeah,
from acting to wrestling. These are real people, just
yeah,
like when we're going to do a backdrop, nobody yells cut before we take the backdrop
hmm,
and puts a stuntman in there. It's us doing it. But
yeah.
what I am saying is that every star needs a backup. There needs to be some kind of supporting staff. You got your main storyline, and it goes down from there.
And speaking of
Everybody
stars,
has a feud.
Rico. Speaking of stars, speaking of thespians, but thinking, speaking of men who are truly everything that their characters are, I want to welcome our first guest, Rico. He is
Oh,
here. So everybody get ready. I told you, he's an NWA superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is a class act all the way. Here he is, Aaron Stevens.
Oh, hey.
yay!
Oh, Rico, what's going on? Oh, great
Oh my
presentation as always.
gosh. So great to see you finally again.
Back at you, man. And Amir, thank you for everything. It's great to meet you.
Absolutely. Yeah, great to have
Oh
you
my
here, Aaron.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
What's that stuff on your face?
Oh, I know, right? It's just
Wait a
little.
minute. You need to shave here and a little here, and you're going to
Hey,
be
we could do a
styling.
tag team. I imitated Miz. I would be honored to imitate you.
Uh-oh. I
Oh
got a
my God.
special guest.
Who is that baby?
That is my 2-year-old Great Dane I just rescued about 4 weeks
Oh,
ago from the Yavapai animal shelter.
oh, Rico, that's amazing. You know what? And it's funny. My friend does Great Dane Rescue.
Yep.
And it's here in
I
Louisville.
got
And
3
that's
of them.
amazing.
I got 3
Three.
rescues.
And
Yeah.
and how do we
And
all get
3
along?
horses. Oh,
Wow.
whoops. We heard something.
Well, like, how do we all get along?
Yes.
So
We all get along.
that's
Well,
great.
it's because I let them know I'm the alpha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a 10-year-old Great Dane, a 3.5-year-old Great Dane Mastiff,
Mhm.
and now I have a 2-year-old. He's only 2. He's 120 pounds.
Oh.
He's going to get 175, 180.
Oh.
And I had to sit a week solid and establish the chain of command.
Yeah.
And I stayed home for a week and established
Mhm.
it. And he's a big baby. Like I said, they were going to put him down. And
Oh.
I saw it and I went, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm taking this dog. And I was in NYC, New York City, doing the convention, the expo convention. So I had my sister-in-law go in and get him before I came back. So I made
Wow.
sure I got him. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
he was a great rescue. His name was, but I changed it to Odin.
Awesome.
Yeah, because
Awesome.
his brothers
Mhm.
are Hercules and Apollo.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna have as his
Of course
name.
not.
No,
Of course
so
not.
I had to have Odin, which is Thor's father, Odin's son.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits him. I mean, my
That's
gosh,
great.
he's huge. He can jump on my shoulders and look above my head. And I'm
Oh.
6 feet tall.
Unreal. That's awesome. That's so cool, Rico. You know what? Just props for you for that, man. That's again
Yeah.
big into animal rescue, so that just warms my heart.
And that's our third.
Mm.
And I don't know if you know, Aaron, I'm into cowboy mounted shooting now. I'm riding
No.
horses and stuff like that. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'm doing that now. And my horse, Rico's Rose, is a rescue also. I rescued
I
her
love that.
from Three Willows.
I
Yeah,
love
she's
that. Oh
half
my God, that's so
Appaloosa,
cool.
half Mustang.
Ooh.
And she's got all the Appaloosa colors. And she is so sweet. I'm telling you. I ride her bareback. I don't know if you saw, you're going to see next week's episode. I rode her bareback with just a halter, no bridle.
Wow.
And we're doing figure eights in the arena and stuff like that. I
Cool.
was just cooling her down from the shooting part, and Emir interrupted me during my training.
Rico,
Just to get on a podcast.
It's showtime. I'm there with our guests, and you're riding around on the horse. Come on.
Hey,
come on.
Hey, I'm the stylist. I can do what I want to do, especially when it comes to Rico's Rose.
Which I love the name.
So-
like I'm getting ready to go to Kentucky Derby here in a few weeks, and
Yeah.
I tell you what, that name is just that's a winner. That is a winner.
Oh, okay. That wasn't her name when I rescued her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put you on the inside. When I rescued her, her name was Strawberry Shortcake. And I went, you're not going to announce me as a former WWE superstar riding Strawberry Shortcake.
Mm-hmm. There's a ton of
Especially with guns in my hands.
Do that on. Especially we're not going to go there.
Gosh. No. So my girlfriend's coworker said, how about Rico's Rose? I went, that's it. Money in the bank.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Enough about me. Aaron,
Mhm.
please introduce yourself to our audience. You are such a fantastic individual. Please tell the audience where you
Hello,
started.
everyone.
Please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to Rico and I catch up. It's just we talked on the phone, but it's been a while since we've actually seen each other. So through the miracle of StreamYard, that was really cool. No, I was in the WWE, known as Damian Sandow, later Mizdow, but it was always kind of the implication I was Damian Sandow playing a character. But my name's Aaron. I'm the guy who played the guy playing the characters. So it was with WWE. I got signed really young. One of the matches that really helped me get signed was actually a match with Rico, and I'll never forget that. We were at the Providence Civic Center, and it was on Sunday Night Heat, and I will always remember this is when I kind of I think it was like that unofficial first round where I'd done some matches. I've done dark matches and things like that, and I had kind of like, people kind of knew me, but Rico was the guy that they wanted to test. Okay, like you can bump, you can sell. Like, can you go? Can you really go? And Rico, we were sitting down. We were talking about OVW. I remember Kenny Boland's name came up, which we will meet him later. And if the audience doesn't already know him, but I have a feeling they do. And I just remember Rico being so giving to me. And, he sold, and he, his like the Christmas that he did things. I was really learning a lot from being in there with him and watching, the match afterwards and stuff. And I remember actually we watched it on SmackDown the next night at the SmackDown tapings. And, for him to just take the time and do that with me and stuff, I never forgot that. And Rico and I had always kind of, we've always been friends. And, I don't think I would have had the career I've had if it had not been for Rico.
Yeah.
And from there, I was with WWE for 6 or 7 years, went to Puerto Rico for a year and a half, came back to WWE, put on a pair of pink tights, grew a beard, and was known as Damian Sandow. And after that, it was just kind of off to the races. And, after WWE, I a brief stint with Impact, and then was out in LA. I was doing kind of the film and TV thing. Long story short, fast forward, I'm in Hawaii. I was filming an episode of Magnum PI. I was laying sunbathing on Waikiki Beach, and the phone rang. It was Billy Corgan, and who Billy and I knew each other from Impact, and or TNA, what is now called. But he was like, "Hey, I bought the NWA, and we're starting tapings again." I went, "Oh my God, that's awesome! You need to come back to work." "No, I don't." Well, you just got a plane ticket. Come on. And so I went, and I'll never forget when I walked into Georgia that first day. It was just like stepping into a time machine with LED lights. It was like if studio wrestling never went away, what would it look like today? And I mean, that was just magic. And pretty much ever since then, I've been with the NWA. And I am the type of person, like the way my mind works as a performer. I'll admit this, like I get bored. If I've done something for a couple of years, I just kind of have this natural propensity to want to evolve. And, I just, for some reason, found myself transitioning into managing. And that has been so much fun. Kudos to Billy for the opportunity for that. And from there, I'm kind of taking on more of a, I still am on camera, but I'm taking on more of a backstage role, which is like everybody kind of jokes. And they say how I'm like the CIA. They call it Central Intelligence of Aaron, because I don't fit into a box. I refuse to call myself an agent, because I just don't want to be an agent. But I'll take care of some matches. A lot of my stuff has been involved with character development, and bringing out the best in people and presenting it in a way that is going to be not only easily digestible for audiences, but also entertaining in whatever way that is. Because there's no right way to do something, but there are the correct principles that you need to follow. If you're not going to get over, but you're going to stay over, because anyone can get over, but you can get lightning in a bottle. But how to harness it, how to keep it, and how to use it, there's an art to that. And the fact that I'm able to work with some talent is very, very cool. And, it's something I never saw myself doing, but it's just been a huge blessing. So,
yeah. And I was going to say to the viewers, I mean, NWA, what you do is fantastic work. I've seen the evolution of your character in the NWA, and but what's going on right now? Because the last thing I knew, something was happening with Tom Latimer in AEW. I mean, sorry, in NWA.
Yes, Tom and I, we've had a bit of a dispute. Long story short, when I resigned my contract with NWA, I put into it a clause that I get a title shot. Any title of my choosing, any one of my choosing. And you know what? Let's just say Tom is kind of in my sights, shall we say. And yes, the psychological games have started.
Yeah.
But we're just going to have to tune in this Tuesday on X at 6:05 Eastern. We're going to see the next chapter unfold.
Wow. Yeah.
Ooh.
Because there's a lot of evolution for the NWA now. I noticed the sets have
Yeah.
changed, everything else. It's
Yeah.
I love the red, white, and blue. I love that rope.
Thank
I
you.
love that color palette. Yep. No, it was your idea.
Your idea?
It was a few different people's, and we had, well, like anything, right? You look at wrestling now, and WWE is kind of, they've always done their own thing. And in terms of if you're flipping through the channels, you look at the way the colors pop in WWE, and then you look at everyone else, and there's just no comparison. And with NWA, the thing that all of us, and Billy makes the decisions. Billy is the boss, and so ultimately he's going to make the call. But again, stylistically, when you go into an NWA show, good, bad, or different, when you see our ring, there is no doubt whose show that is.
Right.
And for branding purposes, that's so huge. And, it kind of, in a way, holds true to traditional values. But, how we as a company, we want to take traditional values that have always been around in our sport, but, a modern flavor. And, we have to keep up to date. And
Got to keep evolving. Got to keep evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to. And hats off to you for your company that wants to keep evolving, because change is not necessarily bad. Change is good.
No.
Yeah.
And Billy is a risk taker. He's been so his whole life. He would not have had the success he's had in the music industry had he not taken risks and gone with his gut. And that's somebody that, like, as a boss, I can get with that.
Yeah.
Is he hands-on? Is he hands-on?
Yes, he's
right
very,
there.
very hands-on.
Good. Good.
Yeah, like he's at every taping. It's just a it's a very, very just cool environment to work in. It's like
excellent.
When you go to NWA,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, for the most part, everyone's happy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone's up. We all like each other.
You got to have a hands-on boss. You got to
Yeah.
have a hands-on boss. And I don't care what industry you're in. When I had a hands-on chief, it made me a better police officer. When I had a hands-on boss as a bodyguard, and when I jumped to lead, and I was a hands-on boss, it made everybody else better. So what you're saying is true. So I'm so glad that Bill is a hands-on boss. It makes everybody so much better because he knows the product. He knows what's going on. He puts his input. He guides everybody. Like I said, and like in the police force, when you have a hands-on chief that's out there with the grunts in the street and everything, boy, it makes your department so much better. Really does.
Yeah.
So hats off.
Couldn't ask for a better boss than him, like, really.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen
he's a good human,
Yeah.
Good. Well, that makes it even better.
I saw that. I saw he launched his podcast, and I was watching the interview he did with Corey Feldman, and then I think he did one with Pat Benatar recently. So I was watching the interviews with that, and Billy comes across as very cool to get along with, professional. I mean, obviously, gosh, he's got to be busy as heck, Aaron. I mean, he's doing the show now. He's still performing, right? Smashing Pumpkins are still.
Yeah. I mean, he is he's go. Yeah. And what's cool about it is, as long as I've been with him, he's trusted me with carrying out some of his orders. And I love military analogies. As I'm sure Rico, being in the world you're in, right? You've had plenty of those, but I often say, the military analogies, they operate at the most efficient and the maximum efficiency and maximum results. And that's pretty much it. So when I'm tasked to do something, I really believe that Billy and I, we have that trust that I am going to put everything I have into it. I mean, as a performer, I always have. And what I'm doing now, that's something that, I really try to give him what he wants. And, leave no stone unturned, shall we say. And it's been great working with some of the talent and just kind of, getting the perspective on this side of the business, which is, it's very, very interesting because I look at, my own career and I'm like, maybe I should have done this differently. I should have taken this personally. And so it's been a very, I don't want to say cathartic journey for me, even though it has been on some levels, but it's caused me to grow a lot as a person and as a professional. So it's NWA has been, the biggest blessing in my life, certainly in the last, 10 years or so.
Well, it looks like you're having tremendous fun there. Like I said, this incarnation of Aaron Stevens, he went from martial arts expert, which was absolutely classic, Aaron. I mean, I can't tell you how much I personally enjoyed that character so much. To the eccentric, and now the last time I saw you, now wearing the sports suit. Now you've transitioned into this new look, this new vibe.
Well, that was just, that's what I wear in the Stevens Academy of Excellence. That's my training suit. I still got my, still got the manager, garb and everything like that. But stay tuned because we're gonna have a few wardrobe changes coming up real quick.
Okay. One of our fans just said Aaron has the sizzle, is an underrated rapper. Are you a rapper, Aaron?
Oh my God. Wow. That's a deep cut. Well, we used to have I don't know if they still have it or not, but on WWE, it was a YouTube channel called Up, Up, Down, Down. And I portrayed a character named Sizzle and I would, I would drop bars with the stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Aaron, can I ask you a question?
Sure can.
Too many hits to the head with a chair and too many Dudley Boy tables. Where'd you and I first meet?
It was when I was
OVW?
when I was coming around for dark matches.
Okay.
It was when I was coming around for dark matches. It wasn't like I met you before we had our match in Providence, but it was just, hi, how are you? And then I had actually worked with you. And then that's when our friendship kind of started to develop.
Yeah, you had the long hair.
Yeah.
You had the long hair.
Yep, long hair, shaved. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now I remember the Providence matches, and I even have it saved in my video archives.
Wow.
Our match, because it went so well. I mean, you listened to me in the ring, and I wanted to put you over, because I saw real talent. And that's why I said to you, just do what you do, kid.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And you pulled off some great moves, and there was no even comeback. I just, all of a sudden, out of blue, I hit you with one of my moves, sideburn stunner, the neck breaker, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I showcased, and you filled up to it. So I was hoping you'd get a spot. I did the same thing for AJ Styles. I did the same for what's this guy with the beard?
A young guy?
Mike Nuts?
No, he was with Kane, and everybody used to yell.
Oh, Doc Gallows.
No, I'm having
was he a tag team partner? Let's ask our fans. No, was he Kane's tag team partner?
That's Snitsky.
No, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yes.
Daniel Bryan. And they overlooked both of those guys. And they put on tremendous matches.
Yeah.
I as the business says, I let them get all their shit in, which some people wouldn't, but they're here for a tryout. I mean, look at me, 8 months, 12 matches, and I got a contract. I was trying to give back.
Speaking of that, I want to ask Aaron a question there, because I do see that the NWA programming is distinctly different from a WWE, from an AEW. You can't tell it apart. One of the reasons I think for that, for me, is the storytelling of the matches. So I've got to ask you, Aaron, are the matches called mostly on the fly in NWA, or do the guys go, beat for beat, the whole way through.
Well, like with anything, right? What I tell any talent is, in today's day and age, to have a game plan is smart, but the issue is when you are unwilling to defer from that game plan, what you're doing, you are inhibiting magic to creep in to whatever you are. So, and that's what we want to do. We want magic.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's that right combination. Every crowd's going to be different. Every opponent, for the most part, you're not going to wrestle the same person over and over again for your entire career. At least I don't think so. So you have to just kind of be completely in tune with what's going on. Put the audience first, not yourself.
Exactly.
What is going to be a good show for them? And then let's go out there and tear it up. Let's have, everyone at the end of the night up out of their seats, just going nuts. And you do that, you have a job.
Yeah.
Well, Amir and I have been saying that for weeks now, ever since we started the podcast. Don't be so mechanical.
Yeah.
Don't be so predictable. I mean, I remember not lately, but before, I could call a match 3 moves ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, he's gonna, and I would tell
Yeah.
the person next to me, yeah, he's gonna do this, and that, and they looked at me like I was Kreskin.
Yeah.
Oh, how does he know that? Well, because I've been there, I've done it. I know what they're gonna do. Headlock, throw off the ropes, knock down, drop down, hip toss. Come on, everybody knows it's coming. Surprise them. Do something different. And that's what I wanted to do with the Stylist character and the Adrian Street character. Different. Didn't want to follow what was going on. And the greatest compliment a fan ever gave me when I went out and signed autographs after a show, he goes, Rico, do you know why I watch you? I said, no, why? He goes, because I don't know what you're going to do from week to week. That was the best compliment I ever got. It's because I was always different.
Yeah.
I had the same moves, but I put them in different places, in different situations, depending on who I was wrestling. If I'm wrestling Kane, there's not much I'm going to do, but I'm going to try and do it. Now, if I'm wrestling somebody else, I'm going to do more of it because I can.
Yeah.
You have to take that in consideration, who you're wrestling, who you're going against. Like when I wrestled Ric Flair. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do to Ric Flair? 16-time world heavyweight champion. I'm going to do what Ric Flair says, but I still have to get my stuff in to make it believable. Because if all of a sudden I don't do anything and then win, you're not going to believe it. I still have to do my stuff. But Rick and the agent, which you don't like to be called, an agent, put it together in a way that it was believable. Along with the announcers, JR and King, they put it over, and it went over as success.
Well, we also talk about characters, though. Again, believing in your character and not being, even if you're introduced as, this is Tom Anderson, right? Make sure that you're not the Tom Anderson that people see going to the grocery store. You got to have something else. You have to switch over into that character mode. And like you said, Aaron, you're giving to the audience. Your whole job out there is to give to that crowd, to feed them, to entertain them, to get them on their feet. And that's what it's all about. It's incredible. I see a lot, like I said, the NWA, it has that difference about it. I've been watching the NWA since it started in 2019, since it started back up. And I see that in it. It has, like, even the storytelling of the matches, Aaron. You're not just flips and high spots. It's not gymnastics.
No,
it's professional wrestling. It's entertainment at the same time. But yeah, it's amazing what you guys are doing down there. Are you still filming in Georgia, Aaron?
No, we're all over the country now. We were in Dothan, Alabama a couple weeks ago. We're going to be in Philly, the 2300 Arena, or formerly the ECW Arena, in May 17th for the Crockett Cup. We go to Tampa, Florida frequently, Texas. So yeah, we're all over now, and that's been good, because the fans, even in Philly where we had our big anniversary show last year, they receive us better.
Nope, he froze.
Yes, yeah. With
Everybody
the
froze.
live.
Everybody okay?
Yes, sir.
You're okay.
We
You're okay,
lost.
Rico?
Okay.
Rico.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah, I'm here.
Um,
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Society said something.
Rico, would you have done MMA if it was around back then? But before we get to that, Rico, I see at the bottom of your screen one of your pals is here.
Who?
Rico, do you want to? I think you know who I'm talking about. Do you want to make this
my
individual?
big blue M&M? My big round mound of sound? My dad? It couldn't be. Tell me it's not true.
Well, I'm
Is
gonna
it
put
the Star Maker, Kenny Bolin?
there. He is okay.
Oh,
He is
Dad!
there.
Wearing
there's a
blue,
Hey,
wearing
Dad.
blue in honor of the blue M&M, and wearing blue.
Yeah,
Kenny,
well, sorry,
welcome.
Dad. I'm not. I don't match.
Well, do you even have a blue outfit? I don't think you do. You got a
I
blue
had a
one?
blue shirt with blue
Okay,
lenses
all right.
and blue belly button rings, but that
Well, there
was
you
with the
go.
alligator suit, which your
Well, that's a
son
step.
absconded from me.
Yeah, he did, and yeah, I just had a couple of lengthy phone calls. Dutch Mantel, just talked to him for about an hour, and he says to send his love to everybody that loves him. I said, well, that'll be nobody on this show.
I love Dutch.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
There'll be no love on this show, Dutch. You can stop that. And Herb Simmons, just talked with him for quite some time, and he's going to be doing a favor for my show for me to help me get some signed autographs that I've never had before to auction off on the show, like Jimmy Hart. Here I just did an appearance with Jimmy Hart, never got a picture with him, and never got a signed picture with him. And I've known him since 1976, and but Aaron will probably testify to this. Back in the day, it was just not kosher to ask the people you work with to sign a picture, or even sometimes to pose for a picture with them. I did it with Jackie Fargo because I didn't care. So that's the only time I'm going to see Jackie Fargo. So I got a picture with him regardless. Didn't care who liked it and who didn't. But no, there was a couple of lengthy conversations with them. They all seem to be doing good. Jimmy Hart sneaking up on, I think he's over 80 years old and is going to be doing these personal appearances in St. Louis.
Wow.
And he goes all over the place. And sounds like you're becoming a bit of a world traveler there. Now, what is your working name now? What do you go by now?
You talking to Aaron, Kenny?
I'm talking to
Which who are
Aaron.
you
I know
talking
yours.
to?
Well, I'm talking to.
Dad,
I know.
Dad, you know who I am.
Obviously, it would be Aaron, aka Damian Sandow,
Well,
aka the Teflon, aka the Teflon King.
Easy A game Aaron, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I'm flipping in and out. When you have as much talent as I do, one personality or one name is just not enough to contain it.
Well, you got to
There
have
you
multiple personalities. Normally, will get you a Netflix series if you play your cards right.
Yeah.
ADD, OCD, and autism.
I'm going to ask Aaron one
That's
thing.
what
I got to
works.
cover this with Aaron right off the bat. Have you made enough money in the business now that you can pay me back for all my Teflon pans that you ruined?
Wow.
Yes. Yes. Checked in the mail.
I want to make a recommendation to you. Have you ever heard of Tefal?
Tefal. It's a brand, right?
Tefal, yeah. Well, I own one. That is the greatest, and it's not really Teflon. It's kind of like an advanced thing. My son got me turned on to it. Man, that is the greatest pan ever.
Huh.
And
I'm a cast iron guy now.
Find it, I encourage you to get one. You'll love that pan.
Yeah, Teflon.
I'm a cast iron guy. You know what's funny with
Tefal.
Jimmy Hart? You talk about Jimmy Hart. I have one Jimmy Hart story, but it is a doozy.
Come on, Aaron. Come on.
We were doing tribute to the troops. Rico, you remember, right? Tribute to the troops, where we would go sometimes overseas, sometimes to military bases. So
Yep.
I'm going to give you the short version. We're in Jacksonville, Florida. I forget the name of the base, but it's where they train the Apache helicopter pilots.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So Wade Barrett and I were on the group that we were going to see where, the flight simulator. So this is by far, it's an exact replica of the Apache helicopter cockpit. And I'm talking the screens, there was no difference between reality and like what's going on there. And this thing moves every which way. You feel every little tick, tremble. I mean, everything. So Wade, who is a much more worldly man than I, goes to the sergeant. Is like, so how do you fly it? What are the controls? Da da da. And he is sitting on the left side. I was sitting on the right side, and I went, "Where are the machine guns and where are the missiles, please?" And the captain pointed them out, and I said, "Fine." I go, "Wade, this is all you. You can fly. I don't want to fly. I just want to blow things up."
Blow some shit up.
So we get up there, and it was a rough ride up there, but we were, and again, it's every little thing. So it's just like a helicopter ride. Now, again, this is like you take the cockpit and you cut it in half, so then people are watching, so you can hear other people. One of whom was Jimmy Hart.
Oh, no.
I tapped the machine gun, and you felt the thing rock a little bit. So once Wade gets a hold of that, he maintains control, and I'm shooting at everything. Right now comes time for the missiles.
Bound to hit something.
So there was a building, and this was an exact replica of Jacksonville. Right now, I of course love Jacksonville. Would never do this. This was just where we were at. So I lock in and I obliterate the thing. Right.
Did you blow the stadium? Did you blow up the stadium?
I lock in again and I shoot something else. But the problem is when you do this, like there's like a weight imbalance. Wade loses control of this.
Oh man.
So the two of us end up in a death spiral. And now again, when you look for, and it's all around the side where, I mean, it's just like this, there's red lights flashing and then like we can see the ground as we're, so my body thinks I am in a real life helicopter crash.
Okay.
So for all intents and purposes, like, I mean, again, my palms are sweating right now thinking about this experience, which was probably only, 20 seconds, right? Maybe. But all the while, Jimmy Hart is narrating what I feel is my own death. So, come on, baby, get control of the helicopter, baby, come on, man, it's all right, brace for impact, baby, come on, Pierce, you got 2 seconds, baby, come on. So,
oh my gosh.
And of course, it didn't end well. But like when we came out of it, Jimmy high fives us. All right, you did great. But like the thought of like him narrating in that voice, like that again, it's one story, but like I said, it was a doozy.
That's funny.
Man. It's the only voice he's got when he gets worked up. That's the voice you get.
Oh, but he was excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to remind our viewers, if you want to ask a question, you've got your super chats available there. So ask away. If you've got anything to ask as we continue this topic, feel free to do so. Someone asked in the chat earlier, will we be talking about Chris Benoit? Yes, we will. We will be talking about that, but we want to let it flow organically. So we're just doing that for you. But
can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Kung Fu Society of Indianapolis. If you want to ask that question, hit the button. I'll answer it. Okay? Hit the button. I'll answer it. And we'll go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kenny, are you looking forward to WrestleMania? You looking forward to WrestleMania next week?
I'm looking forward to night 2 because night 2 will be the John Cena match. And I predicted on my show that he was going to win it for the 17th time and retire with the belt. And I want you to know 3 weeks later, he went on television and told everybody, I'm going to win the title and I'm going to retire. So he made me look pretty good. Yeah. Someone said, where did John Cena learn to become a heel? I said, well, you don't have to ask me. Ask the German reporter, Oliver Kopp Oliver, whatever the hell they call him, that German reporter. He says that he gave me credit at a press conference in Germany. So Dutch Mantel says, well, Kenny, how did you teach the guys in OVW to be heels? I said, well, what I tell you, and Aaron will back me up on this. I said, well, just ride around with me in real life and act like me, and people will hate your guts.
Wow.
He ain't lying.
Yeah,
he ain't lying.
Just do what I do in real life, and you should be a pretty good heel. I mean, it wasn't that hard.
So that's
how I became the top heel in OVW. I rode around with Kenny.
And that's how you got that. And Aaron, I presume that's where you got your schooling from Kenny.
I've done autograph sessions.
He lived with me for 8 years. And I'm not kidding. Lived with me for 8 years.
Hold on, Kenny. What was that, Aaron?
I have done autographs. Well, it was only one time, but it was an autograph signing at a funeral or a wake. Excuse me.
Oh my God! my brother's father's funeral we signed a bunch of autographs.
I wasn't expecting to, by the way, until a stack of
He
8x10
wasn't
was placed in front of me with 2 Sharpies.
Hold
I'm
on.
not kidding.
I know you're an atheist, Kenny, but
Aaron's defense, he was not.
I gotta do
No,
this. Yeah, I gotta bless Kenny. Oh my God! At a wake, a funeral. Oh,
You know how? Whoa! Back up there, religious boy. Do you know how many people we made happy that day?
It was an interesting confession that month.
Yeah.
Yes. We made a lot of people
Oh
happy
my
that day. We
And
did.
how much money did you make?
You did
We
what?
did the Lord's work in a
Off your own
funeral home
family?
is what we did.
you took celebration of life a little too far.
Yeah.
And I think we got 22 meals covered at the Frisch's. The Frisch's Big Boy. We got 22.
For the grieving family or for yourself?
Well, I had 22. I had 21 of them, and then I let Aaron have the other.
One
But
of
everybody else watched and had a good time. Everybody else-
unbelievable, Kenny. One of our audience,
I'm leaving the show. I'm leaving
Everybody else
my own
enjoyed the
show. I can't believe this.
That is the greatest story maybe ever told. Is that they wanted autographs from Aaron. Aaron was over big time when we walked in, and some of them just liked his looks, whether they knew who he was or not. The women were all over him, and then a lot
Did he
of
have
people knew
long
his
hair or
TV.
the short hair?
He
This is
had
short hair, I believe.
probably the long hair then, Aaron. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you think?
Oh, wait a minute. No, this would have been long hair. Yes, this would have been long hair.
I think that was long hair.
Yes.
And Aaron was kind enough to go with me because we went to the funeral on short notice. And I said, Aaron, would you mind going with me? Because he knew Timmy John, the toenail cutter, which Rico can't stand that story. And Aaron was kind enough to go with me. So I go out to the car and get my briefcase because the briefcase is always in the trunk of the car, as Rico knows. And I come back in. I said, Aaron, meet me in the break room. We're gonna sign some autographs. He's looking at me like, what are we gonna do?
No. You said let's go. They have brownies and sandwiches in the back. So
they did finger
pay
food.
our respects to the corpse. We went to the back and we're sitting there enjoying brownie. I had a brownie and a water. I'll never forget it. Then the family starts gathering, and then Kenny, Kenny, I try to watch you on TV, but I work and I can't see you. He goes, you know what? You're in luck. And then I heard bump.
I have DVDs.
And I went, no. He starts setting up the Best of Bowling Services volumes 1 through 4, like a merch table. And then he goes, you know what? If you buy 2 or more, you get a free picture autographed by Aaron the Idol Stevens. 8x10 Sharpie, and I was trapped.
Oh man.
He did. I mean, what's he going to do? Disappoint everybody? He pretty much had to do it.
It was
Dad.
If you could see how uncomfortable if you could see how uncomfortable he looked, because here's the bad thing about it. We've sold out the break room. We got the finger food, the sandwiches, the drinks. The break room sold out. The corpse is laying in there with like 2 people.
With the funeral director standing there, not knowing what was going on.
He
thought someone was having a heart attack.
Everybody. Oh, they're back there getting autographs from Kenny and Aaron. What about the corpse? But
you can't make this stuff up.
No,
unbelievable, Dad.
And what did they bury the corpse with? My brother's stepfather. What did they bury him with? Do you remember?
An autographed picture.
He was wearing overalls, and in his overalls were 2 tickets to OVW, I believe, or
no, even better. We got him Monday Night Raw tickets because it was coming to Louisville, and he died before he could go. So we gave him the tickets, and assuming a higher power would make sure he got to see the show. So he needed tickets to get in. So we put the 2 tickets in his overalls, and you couldn't find him at the door if the ghost of Razor's Past showed up. Then he got in. So yeah.
Oh my God!
And I think we did a very Christian thing that day. Is what a lot of people trying to shit on that. That was a very Christian thing we did.
Aaron, I got a question for you from a fan. I got a question. Hey, Aaron. How tough was Killer Kowalski as a trainer? From
sure.
Again, I'd broken in at 16, and Killer was very, very kind to me. He I don't want to say like fast tracked me with a lot of things, but at the same time, the other students, and again, when you're 16 and the youngest guy is 23, besides you. That is a major difference. And, I definitely, I took my licks, and like anything else, people would consider it like, oh, that's abuse. That's no, it wasn't. It was the business
His,
was
his,
what it
his
was
name
back
was
then.
Killer. His name
Yeah,
was
like
Killer.
it was what it was back then, and you had to go through it.
Mhm.
And if I was going to be 16, I had to, hold up my end of the bargain.
Yeah.
And that was that part of it. Like physically, it was a bit rough, but then again, the whole business was, and it's something that it built character, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, getting booked on shows, which, and it's funny because like I am, and I don't mean to do this, but like I guess I'm not a snob, but I'm a little uppity when it comes to the whole independent wrestling thing, and I don't, because I never had to ask for a booking in my life. Like, and to this day, I've never asked someone for a book. Like, I was always booked on the shows, and I went and did my thing, and you learn, you help out when you can, you be respectful. But as long as I was holding up my end of the bargain, Killer more than held up his end of the bargain.
Aaron,
That's what I respect about you, Aaron. That's what I respect about you, Aaron.
I'm going to one up Aaron's story. I also have never had to ask for a booking in my life. And earlier today, I was paid $1,500 not to come to an event.
Oh,
so that
this one?
Yeah. Don't
This
come,
one.
please. What do you want just to stay home? 1,500.
I must admit, Kenny, I was hesitant to press that button to loop you in. A few weeks ago, we actually invaded Kenny's show, didn't we, Rico?
You did.
Yeah, we did.
We caused some havoc there.
We did, but that's why they call it an invasion. But Aaron, Killer, what made you who you were, and I saw it when we had our match in Providence, because you were respectful, you were kind, you wanted to put on a good show, and all those qualities Killer taught you, I saw in you when we were going for that match.
I would say that Killer Kowalski was his version of my Jerry Lawler. Kind of made me who I was once I wanted to be the managerial version of him. So I would say that Killer was probably his Jerry Lawler would be my guess.
Do you know the last two matches I had to get my developmental deal was in Killer Kowalski's territory?
No,
he wrestled two armories. Yeah. One was me against Mark Henry with Jim Cornette, and the other was a tag match. After both those events, I got signed. It was in Killer Kowalski's territory.
For Fred Sparta? Was he a promoter?
No, I don't know who it was, but I know it was the last Dory Funk's dojo.
Because I think back then, because Kowalski was involved with the Spartas, and that would have been that time period. So wow, that's so cool, because that's who I actually started working for. Wow, that's amazing, Rico. That's
it is small world.
Yeah,
small world.
Yeah.
I got one of our fans here, Steve Vendetta. If you hit the super chat, we can answer that question. Aaron will answer that for you live, but you got to hit that.
No freebies. No freebies.
No freebies, Kenny. You know what? I'm learning from the best.
There you go.
We don't you, and that's it.
Now I did see one of the trolls in here earlier, and their username was Kroger Meat Scam Investigation or something like that. And I am very embarrassed, very, very horribly. I just hang my head anytime brings up the meat scam or the meat opportunity. As a matter of fact, I'm so embarrassed by it that I wrote about it in my book.
Okay.
10 years ago in July, I wrote about the meat opportunity, and I'm just so embarrassed. And my picture hangs in the corporate office in Cincinnati, Ohio, because I taught them, you might want to redo your warranty. Alex is screwed up here. People are getting $400 for $100 worth of meat. You might want to redo the warranty. And I saved Kroger from going out of business is what I did.
I can see the shame on your face. Gabe.
Oh, the shame, the pity. It's like when Jed Clampett would look at you and go, pitiful. That's the shame I felt was Jed Clampett.
Aaron, do you see where our careers came from? My gosh, the blue M&M.
And Rico, let me ask you this: did you get a signed copy of Kenny's book?
No, he has not sent me
Well,
a signed
there's
copy.
a reason you didn't get a signed copy of my book, because neither of you paid for one.
Well, no, Kenny. Remember you gave me one.
Did I?
Wow,
Okay.
he has a heart. He has a heart.
The one time-
probably under the assumption that you would pay me later, like the Wimpy thing. You'd pay me
I was
Tuesday
living-
for an autographed book today.
I was
What is
living
he?
out
I
in
did
the
pay
country.
the book, now that I remember.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a
Pay you
hamburger
Tuesday.
you cooked today.
Mhm.
Oh my God, Kenny! My dad is a wimpy.
Wimpy.
Oh
Well,
Lord!
Yep.
Wimpy.
Aaron, we
Um,
got to get on to our subject.
Yeah, we got to get
we're-
under our subject. Absolutely, because fans.
And we just set everybody up. We ain't even going to talk about it.
No,
Kenny, we can't do
no.
that.
Well,
This
good.
is not a funeral here. It will be our funeral.
Wait a minute, Kenny. Kenny, wait. Did you ask for
Not a
donations at a
funeral for
funeral?
crying out loud.
What
Did
was
you
that,
ask
Rico?
for donations at the funeral?
I do have a purple jacket, and Grimace sued me for wearing it. So, you know.
No,
Get out.
I'm asking. Did you at the funeral? Did
Yes.
you ask for donations?
Well, I wasn't doing that yet. I wasn't doing the donation thing yet.
Okay.
I would have
You
had.
charged
I
the
know,
whole price of the DVD.
if I'd have had the 501c3 and these Bowling Services Incorporated flags, I would have jammed those in that casket in a daggum heartbeat and said, "Donate. You'll fill this casket with money so we can feed some people, for crying out loud.
Oh my
You
God.
can't take it with him." And someone said Kenny probably
Aaron.
took those tickets out of his overalls and sold them. He wasn't going to use them.
Aaron.
Of course, I took them out, and I got $400 out of them. Of course, I took the tickets out of his overalls.
Aaron, help me! I brought you on the show to help me.
Yeah.
Rico, I can't because it's true. And the reason I asked about your book,
Uh-oh.
Oh,
His-
he got
Did you
disconnected.
kick Aaron out before he could tell the story?
Oh no, he'll be back. It looks like his phone died. He'll probably have to charge it back up. And
Oh
you know.
shit!
hey,
No,
it'll
I
be
know
all
what
right.
it is. I know Aaron the Idol Stevens, and he didn't pay his internet bill. That's what's going on. He owes AT&T some money.
Well, you did say he didn't owe you. He didn't pay you back for all those years.
No,
ago.
he did not
Yeah.
pay me back, and he probably didn't pay AT&T or Spectrum either.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
probably hooked into the neighbor's Wi-Fi, and they caught on to him, and they cut him off. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's
He's-
how
Kenny.
Dutch Mantel gets his Wi-Fi. Dutch
he-
Mantel don't pay for Wi-Fi. He gets the neighbors.
Okay, he's back.
oh yeah.
I hope he didn't hear
Hey.
that. What you were saying right there.
So
Oh my God, Aaron, help me!
Aaron linking
Okay.
into that neighbor's Wi-Fi password is what he's doing.
yeah, well, hey, you taught me. You know, the thing is, Rico, I would love to help you, but I can't because I asked you if you got a signed copy of your book. I got one, but there's a story to it. Kenny came. I was living north of Louisville, out in the country,
Mhm.
and I
Oh, yeah.
invited Kenny over the house for a meal. And in his benevolence, he says, "I'm going to give you a signed copy of my book." Okay.
I had to pay for my meal.
Showed up. No, he didn't. Well, gas money, but he shows up and he gives me the book. Oh, and so I go to read what he wrote. It says, you know, to Aaron, and it was a very generic thing to where, like, we were, number one, way better friends at that. I noticed he spelt my name wrong.
Oh,
It had two
Oh.
A's. And in
You
the
don't
years
have
that
two
I'd
A's.
known him up to
One
that
A,
point-
R-O-N.
Yep. In the years that I'd known him up to that point, at no point has he ever referred to me as Aaron. Idol.
never.
So I put two and two. I go, Kenny, was this book meant for someone else? And he just starts laughing.
It
He
was.
goes, well,
It was.
the order didn't go through, and I figured why let it go to waste.
Yeah, they didn't pay for it. Why
So
waste a
I said, you know what? That's the greatest. Like,
that is actually 100% true. I had forgotten it because I'm old and I forget shit. But that is actually 100%
like, so-
true. I gave him an autograph for another Aaron.
Wow.
I wish
Hoping
I
he'd
could
be
help you,
none the
Rico.
wiser.
I,
Or that I just didn't know how to spell his name. And that's exactly how he got that book. Because I was
Oh,
already
my
out the autograph.
God.
I couldn't eat the 20.
Aaron, you got a question.
I got a question. Rico, you want to read that?
Aaron, the ghost says, I saw a good question. Did Aaron ever take care of a bill like Rico did at Kingfish?
I didn't eat at Kingfish. I was not a fish guy.
Oh, Do
Yeah,
you
he-
know
he
the
doesn't-
story
he doesn't
at
like fishing.
Kingfish?
No, please.
All right, I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version.
He had
because
a
it's
lot
too
of Golden
long to go
Corral,
into.
though. He did have a lot of Golden Corral, and
Well-
what was the other buffet we used to go to, Aaron?
Ryan's.
Ryan's Steakhouse. Yeah, he got plenty of that.
Okay.
But, he wasn't a
So
fish guy.
at Kingfish, the bill came out and it was
Timmy
triple
John's birthday.
digits. I know, but triple digits. I'm trying to give the Reader Digest version. So triple digits. Kenny wasn't able to pay or didn't want to pay that amount.
Elected
He said, "Rico,
not to
take
pay.
one."
Elected not to pay.
Elected not to. So he goes, "Rico, you got to take one for the team." And this waitress or the manager was eyeballing me. So he asked the waitress what to do and what she
To make
would
the
want
bill,
for
to
the bill.
reduce the bill. That was the
smaller.
intention, to reduce the bill.
Reduce the bill from like 150, 140 bucks down to whatever Kenny wanted to pay.
Something reasonable.
So he
something
tells me this, and I go, okay. So I take the waitress behind a tree or something, and I have to kiss her.
reasonable.
So I kiss her, and
By
then I
the
go back to
bathroom.
the table. Well, so what? It's not
And
sanitary.
he's gone a long
what?
time.
No, I'm not. I'm gone enough for a good kiss.
Hour and a half.
Rico kiss. Not that long. So we come
Both
back.
of them come back sweating.
No. And the waitress comes back and sets down the bill, and now it from 140 or 150 bucks is now zero.
0, 0, 0.
Zero.
So, what did
But
I
the
do
question
wrong?
is, Aaron, did you have to do anything at Golden Corral or Ryan's Steakhouse like I had to do?
Well, the theaters.
No. I honestly,
No.
no, I never had to. But I did, however, have to keep my mouth shut while King would invite 10 people to Golden Corral and say, let's all leave a $20 tip. He would give the waitress, 40 bucks and keep 60 for himself.
Wow. Darn, Katie.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know if there's any truth to that story at all.
Well, I tell you what,
Doesn't
inspired.
We got to
by-
get going.
Inspired by Kenny, though. Before we begin our real
We
subject,
could do a whole show like this. Sorry.
Yeah, I
We
know.
could.
We can keep going, but hey, Kenny, you inspired
Y'all
Rico.
just trying to make me look bad. I should leave.
Rico, hold up your 8x10 there. Inspired by Kenny Bolin. Okay, so we got our 8x10s here, everybody. Rico and the master, Emir. So if you want those, if you want a headshot, whatever, 8x10 mailed to you, Rico, tell them the cost.
Well, it's $50 for mine, and I will sign it right in front of you, right here, and addressed to you with a subscription or what I want to say. And if you want a combo, $75, and you'll have a mirror and myself's photo mailed to you. Just
There you go.
drop your address in the email, and we'll get them out to you.
Yep, excellent. Now we better get on with our subject matter today.
We
which
better.
Is
Being as Aaron never officially paid for his book, this one is now $60, so I can get Aaron's money too. $60.
I'll even sign it.
There you go. There you go. Are you here for
But
Derby?
spell it
Are you
right.
here for Derby?
so
Are
anyway.
you here for Derby, Aaron?
Oh, yes, no, I'm going to the Derby.
I'm not. I need to take you to Royals Chicken while you're here. You're going to love it. Do you like spicy chicken?
Yes.
You're going to love Royals Chicken. They're a sponsor on my show. Very good. All right, let's get to it, y'all. Y'all
We'll get
brought
to
me
it.
over here, and we haven't talked about anything we were here to talk about tonight. Y'all just
Right.
keep rambling on.
Exactly.
So
So
let's,
Chris
get it up.
Benoit.
Let's get to it.
Let's focus, gentlemen. Chris Benoit. So there's some controversy surrounding this. It's obviously a dark situation. It's very tragic, a horrible thing that happened. Like Rico and I've said, you can't erase the professional, regardless of what the personal did. He did do a great job while he was wrestling. Created some great memories along the way, the Four Horsemen, et cetera, et cetera. But the ending was kind of odd. A lot of people were saying that he went into a fit of rage, murdered his wife, his kid, and then himself. But yet this happened over a period of, what was it, Rico? 3 days, 3.5 days, 3 days. So that to me, that doesn't sound like a fit of rage per se, because you hit a fit of rage, it passes, it's gone. It doesn't last 3 days, and you can't. Apparently, he had sadly murdered his wife, then his son, and then himself was the third day, right? That was correct, Rico?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So, but, as Kenny has informed us, Kenny and Aaron, you both, you had conversations with Chris right at the end. So Kenny, I'm actually, even though this is not your show, I'm actually going to kick it down to you.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to be generous to you, right?
Damn.
And I'm going to kick it down to you and allow you to bring us into this last day or last few days of Benoit. What he said to you guys.
Well, for my memories, now you got to remember, this has been a long time ago. Chris Benoit was always a class act when he came to work with us at the shows. He would get dressed with us. He didn't ask for a special locker room like someone might do. Eddie Guerrero was the same way. He would come in and didn't want any special treatment. He would dress with the boys. No, I'm nothing special. I'm one of you guys. And that's how Benoit would come in and do the Six Flags shows. And I was doing a Six Flags show to where some kids from Canada drove down, especially to meet Chris Benoit. And he's on his way to the airport. I mean, he's running late. And I said, Chris, I hate to bother you, man. I said, but these kids drove down from Canada and they just wanted to say hi to you. Oh, hell yeah. So he drops his bags, comes back, meets the kids. There's 3 or 4 of them that came down from Ontario or wherever they were from. And then goes back and gets his bags, gets some autographed pictures, signs the pictures for the kids, and then tells them to contact him when he gets to Ontario, and he's going to get them free tickets for the next show that's in Ontario or wherever it was going to be. And because that's where they were from. And just the nicest guy in the world. And then me and Aaron are doing a personal appearance at Paul Miller Ford in Lexington, Kentucky. We were probably up there, Aaron, noonish, 1-ish, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Aaron's phone rings and it's Chris Benoit. And I'm overhearing most of the conversation, and he's talking to Aaron, and just I remember him specifically saying how excited he is to come. Looking forward to working with you guys. I'll be there Wednesday. I can't remember what day we were there at Paul Miller Ford. Seeming to me he was going to be here in a day or two, like a couple days down the road, if not the next day. And nothing seemed wrong. He just could not have been in a better mood. And Aaron had a bit of a lengthy conversation with him, and then the next thing we know, we get the word of what has happened. And Aaron might have been among the last people to ever speak to him.
Okay, hold on. Aaron, what did he say to you in that conversation?
He had taken interest in me in terms of, I know ECW was really a thing, and he had just worked a program with MVP, and he was wanting to possibly do something with me. So he was really kind of wanting to get me ready, and he wanted to work on some things at Six Flags. So I was like a kid in a candy store, in the business, growing up, even in Kowalski's, one of the guys you studied, how he moves, how to this day, like when I punch or kick a guy, I got in the habit of doing the way I do it now through watching Chris, where, putting everything you have into something. I was just over the moon about it. Right. Didn't see that one coming.
That makes 2 of us.
Yeah. Like you wonder, just again, we can piece what went on and stuff like that, but what was going on inside his head, like I said, 3 days or something like that.
So you spoke to him on Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday, and then I believe it was the day before.
That Friday.
The day before he was supposed to come down, he had called me again. And apparently,
okay, what did he say then?
He said, "I want you to have a match at Six Flags." It was Friday. It was a Friday because we were doing a show at Six Flags. And he said, "I want you to have a match. Let's get it on tape for the office, and I'm going to try to do something with you. No punches, no kicks, don't hit the ropes, and go have a match." Okay. So I did that, and there was a WWE pay-per-view on that Sunday, and then he didn't show up to the pay-per-view, and I was like, huh. And again, I'm still a green boy at the time, so I'm not going to call him. But I thought it was odd, and then the following Monday, everything came out, and it was just like, what?
Okay, so you spoke to him. When was the last time you spoke to him?
That would have been the Friday before he missed the pay-per-view, so like 2 days before he missed the pay-per-view.
So that
so he missed Sunday's pay-per-view.
hmm
So you spoke to him that Friday.
Yes. Yep.
How did he sound?
Excuse me. Fine. I mean, there was
He sounded good.
Rico, and
Normal
again,
Chris
I'm not an
Benoit.
expert. No, and
No,
that's
no,
the thing.
no,
Like,
no. I'm just saying your feelings. Your feelings inside. Did
nothing.
he sound?
No,
You
not at all.
you couldn't sense anything.
Not remotely. And again, there was part
Okay.
of me being a young kid, and oh wow, Chris Benoit is calling me.
Yeah.
But I mean, like as I kind of from what I do remember the conversation, and even after the fact, right? Like I would go back and I was like, oh, and I actually got called. The Georgia PD did contact me and stuff, and
Right.
I told him like there was nothing that even remotely would have supported the fact that all this insanity was going on.
All this
I hear
happened.
in the background, nothing.
Okay.
I
I'm
remember.
gonna ask you another thing.
I remember when we were
Oh,
at.
I gotta ask you one more thing. Hold on, Kenny. What
That was my
time did
show,
you
go ahead.
last? Hold on. What time did you last speak to Benoit? Can you remember the time?
This is crazy because I cannot tell you where I've won WWE titles and this and that. I remember this. It was 12:01
Georgia time or wherever he was living? Or
East
your
Coast time. We're in Louisville, East Coast time.
Okay, so it's East Coast time, 12:01,
Yep.
and he sounded normal.
Yes, and I have no idea why I can remember that specific. I remember looking at my phone. And crazy. I remember the phone I had and everything, and yeah,
That's
Okay.
crazy. That was the Friday, right? When he purportedly
Yeah.
murdered his wife.
Well,
Was it not
allegedly. Okay, they haven't, but at 12. So now we're establishing a timeline. 12:01, Aaron spoke to Chris, and I haven't been privy to the reports. I don't know the TOD, time of death, of his wife, because I was told that was the first person that was dispatched, to keep it on pleasant terms. But on the TOD, was it before he spoke to Aaron or after he spoke to Aaron? So that would make a huge difference in any investigation. If he did dispatch the wife, God forbid, prior to that and still had the same demeanor that did not throw Aaron off, then I say there's cause to worry. And, this fit of rage thing, there's no rage. It all depends on the time of death of the wife. You see what I'm saying? Now, if it came afterwards, then there could have been a rage. Before that, he wasn't raged because Aaron spoke to him. This is what we have here. So unless I saw the Georgia report on the TOD of the wife, because allegedly that's the first person that was dispatched, I can't say murdered or, I don't know the facts. Like I said, we're trying to uncover some stuff possibly that the police don't know yet, that a private investigator can pick up or something. But
Well, it's been many
that
years.
plays a lot. Well, I understand. And do you remember Ted Binion in Las Vegas, who was murdered or allegedly murdered? And they said it was a drug overdose until a private investigator stuck his nose in it. And then the woman and the boyfriend went to jail for it for many years until it was dropped. Because I know I bailed the guy out when I was a bail bonds agent. That was a big murder case. They had it set off drug overdose for many years until this PI stuck his nose into it. So, like I said before, this is kind of like the Kennedy assassination. There's a lot of things out there, and I don't think a lot of things are open to the public. So we're just trying to get to the root of things that maybe somebody or us can uncover that would spark somebody's interest, maybe reopen it, because I never saw the Chris Benoit that the news showed. Aaron never saw it. He never heard it. And according to him and his testimony, he was basically the last person that spoke to him prior to all this unpleasantness happening. So, in me, I'm not going conspiracy, but I'm going, look at the facts.
Mhm.
You know, what happened? You know, maybe this needs more scrutiny. I don't know how many times the Kennedy assassination has been scrutinized.
Well, yeah,
But
it's there's cause for it, and I want to remind our viewers there, because some people are asking questions there in the side. Again, if you want to ask a question, hit the super chats. All right, it's $5 and above, and we'll answer your question live right here and now. But one of the things that, yeah, because there is an uneasy feeling about this whole thing. You know, I hadn't thought about this case in years, but we happened to talk about it the other day, and I said to Rico, I said, you know, Aaron, I'm a man of faith. And
Same here.
I said to Rico, something about it. I just feel there's something in my spirit that doesn't sit right about this story, because everybody says, you know, Chris was such a nice guy. Yes, he was intense and stuff. He was a good friend of Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was a man of faith. You know, all this other stuff. He loved his wife and kid, but yet, even after you talk to him, and he's this normal person to you, making plans for the future, how does someone go from that, Rico, to being so violent?
Do
So
you mind? Do you mind if I give you my perspective on it? Who has dealt with people that have the PTSD?
okay.
And my perspective is, I've got family members that have gone through this, that have had multiple concussions, and can be the sweetest, kindest mofo that ever lived. And then all it takes is one word, one sentence, one little thing to go wrong, and I have feared for my life from this very same person that I know loves me and cares about me, but fear for my life, and will tell me they're going to kill me in that fit of rage. And then if you give them time to calm down, and if they have somebody try to smooth everything out, that is the perspective. And I've learned trying to make them laugh is what snaps them around and what gets them back. Yeah. So I disagree with some of that, because I've seen it happen. Okay. And just because they're people of faith, so is my friend. Mm-hmm. My friend is a big time Catholic. Mm-hmm. That doesn't matter. If he's triggered in the right way, he will and has the capability to kill you. Okay. And I'm scared every time it happens. And it's a family member. And it's because of multiple concussions. And the person that is doing that is not the person we know. I can't say anything bad about Chris Benoit, because I never saw that person. I didn't see anybody beat his wife, hurt his kid, or anything like that. But I can see where it could have happened, because I've seen it happen to actually a couple of family members that can get triggered because of the multiple concussions they've gone through. Being a man of faith doesn't mean jack shit when it comes to that. And I'll tell you that, because I'm not, and I'll do anything to help anybody. It doesn't make you a good or a bad person because you're not a person of faith. Be a person.
I think what I meant initially was,
but
when
people of faith kill people all the time.
Yeah, but what I meant there was, initially when I started thinking, it was like it's a feeling that you get. You know, it was a very spiritual feeling that I got when we started talking about this case, that something was off about it. But nonetheless, we do have Rico from the Ghost. Do you think there's another suspect?
Well, right now, there could be something. Nothing is very concrete to me. And like I said, I have not read the reports. I don't know the crime scene. I haven't seen crime scene photos. So I'm just going on past experience from murder scenes, suspects, and stuff like that. I'm trying to resource everything that I've been through in 34 years of protecting people. So could there be another suspect? That's why we have this show, because there could be another suspect. And until I see or am privy to any of the other stuff, findings and stuff like that, I don't know when they're going to be disclassified or anything, then I can form an opinion. But another suspect, I'd say yes. You know, Kenny has a good point. PTSD. Yes, that is a possible point. And I'm not throwing anything out. I'm not saying Benoit didn't do this.
And Chris took a lot of chair shots to the head. Not to mention the steroid. Of course.
What was his move? Flying headbutt from the top of the rope into somebody's shoulder. And so he kept hitting the frontal lobe. You know, and thank God to Chris Nowinski, who got Chris Benoit's father to allow him to examine the brain, found out there was a lot of tau protein in the brain from Chris Benoit, which said he had CTE. And everybody called it roid rage. Actually wasn't roid rage. Chris Benoit, like Hernandez in the football, and people who have a lot of major injuries to their head or multiple concussions suffer from. And Chris Kowinski brought this out. That's why this subject is now clouded, diluted, theories. Well, he didn't do it. Somebody else did it. That's why now they can't blame it on roid rage. Now, I'm not saying that after Aaron spoke to him that his wife didn't do something domestically to cause a fight. And
Anything
out of rage,
anything.
yeah. So PTSD, CTE, roids, whatever, triggered that. Okay, and I've said this before. So out of that anger or whatever, Chris acted on it, and the wife ended up expiring. Now, me thinking logical or whatever, going, now Chris has committed a crime. He's now cognizant. He's calmed down. Now he's going to think about the future. Somebody in that position would go, I don't want my son to see me in prison. I don't want him to grow up in a foster care. I don't want him neglected. That could be his thought process. So on Saturday, he took his son life. And from what I've heard in reports, it was Xanax, and he smothered him with a pillow. And after all of that on Sunday, he felt, and he took his own life because he didn't want to suffer the consequences. That's what I think the process was, if he did it. I don't know of anything Chris Benoit could have done to warrant a hit like that from any organization. But I didn't know his personal life. I don't know his personal life.
Yeah.
So, like I said,
it's just a little bit. It's a little bit intriguing. I see people writing in the comments here about steroids and whatnot. I've witnessed roid rage. Rather before when I was a teenager.
Any other movie, W?
Yeah, and it doesn't last that long. There was this guy in the gym. Gosh, guys, this guy looked like Scott Steiner. You know, God rest his soul. Again, this guy took his life. Actually, I found out years later. When I was 17, I was working out of the gym. There was this guy who was about as big as Steiner. And I remember one day he was doing flies with about 100-pound dumbbells. I mean, he was huge. And I guess he got pissed off because he couldn't get that last rep. And he just tossed these dumbbells, threw them up, got up, took the bench, launched it across the gym like he didn't hit somebody with it. And everyone was like, whoa, okay, this is – but then he was calm like a few minutes later. You know what I mean? So I don't know how but again, the combination of that with the concussions. Aaron?
And I was going to say, too, to your point, my initial reaction, right, when, if they're going to blame steroids for this, you look at the average wrestler and look at the professional bodybuilder. If steroids, now again, can they make a human being's own personality enhanced one way or another? Can they, again, affect their endocrine system to where they will have emotional responses that are not the same as if they did? Of course it can, right? I mean, this is a proven scientific fact. But if steroids were the primary reason for him doing what he did, then how come we don't see this more in the bodybuilding community? Because nobody kind of dabbles in that world more than them.
True.
And that was always my thing. So again, like, if Chris did it, whatever's going on inside his head, was it solely based on the fact that he was taking? And again, how much was he taking?
Yeah.
I
personally think it was more the concussions, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and or was it a combination?
Yeah.
There were a combination thereof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can speak from personal experience. When I first started bodybuilding, I was on steroids, but from a doctor, and I got
I wasn't.
in numerous fights. No, I can understand that, King. You shoot basketball, that's okay. You don't need steroids for that.
Clean.
But I was in numerous fights when I was a young guy, and it was not always one-on-one. It was always 3, 4, 5, up to 6 guys when I was on steroids. I don't know why, but that's what happened. But I never had the notion. I went, I guess, into a rage, but I never thought of taking somebody's life.
Mhm.
But I wanted to get out of there alive.
Yeah.
Do you
I'm
understand
glad,
what
I'm
I'm
glad you
saying?
mentioned that because I've got people that have wished me dead just for stupid podcast shit. I've got people that have wished me dead, threatened to kill me. I do not have it in me to kill anybody unless you're trying to harm me or my family or my dogs. Now, if you're doing that, then I can go a place that I ordinarily would not go.
Three
But
steps
just
to
to
doom.
want to kill somebody because I have a disagreement with them, that is not in me.
Right.
That's a glitch I don't have. And
I
there's
don't
2 or
have
3
that glitch
people out
either.
there that have stated one of them's a former best friend that he wants me dead. So so either he can kill me or have someone kill my son. And I
Sticks
don't
and
wish him
stones,
dead.
love.
I don't wish him dead.
Sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Words. I'm talking about the actual action when you're in combat. Okay. For your own personal reasons. Now, I'm not talking about my
If you
police
got to defend
days or
yourself, I have
bodyguard
to have a sword.
days.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where I have to separate myself from that to my personal. Okay. And I've talked about this before. I don't want to get into it or I'll end up crying. So, okay. Personal reasons. I had a lot of personal reasons. I had a guy hold a butane torch to my stepson while my ex-wife was holding him and was trying to burn him. There were 4 of them. I beat the crap out of them. Beat the crap out of them all. But I didn't want to kill him. The thought never entered me to kill him, but I wanted to make them pay for doing that. Okay, so I was on steroids at that time, but I never wanted to kill them. But I made them pay for what they did. Okay, so I don't know what get more personal than that. Holding a handheld butane torch to your stepson and your wife and saying, I'm going to burn them. That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah. Very dramatic. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like you said,
Should they have died? I don't know. I'm not the judge. But I made sure that torch never touched my son or my ex-wife. And they all paid. They went to the hospital and they went to jail. And I was not charged. So I've been on that end. And I can understand a family outbreak or something like that. But Chris loved his wife, or he wouldn't have married her, or wouldn't have had Daniel with him. So this is where I'm having my complex.
because
okay, you're mad at somebody. Go ahead.
Because I was going to say, he's mad. Like we said, we're just retracing the steps. It's an accident per se. He gets violent. It's an accident, right? But then, as the story went, the whole 24 hours goes by. I think he was watching the pay-per-view with his son or something like that. It was reported.
That's what I was told.
The pay-per-view. So, and then after that, this other thing happens. It's very strange. And the only reason, I thought of, there's potential other possibilities is because even Dino Bravo back in the day was actually, he was murdered, in his home. Hold on one second. We've got another.
I saw that.
Yeah. Ghost asks again, what about the Kevin Sullivan theory? What is the Kevin Sullivan theory? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
But Kevin did it.
Wife.
Kevin did it to set him up.
Kevin did it because just like the OJ. Just like the OJ thing. Okay. His wife was the ex-wife of Kevin Sullivan and married Chris and then had Daniel. They had 2 other sons, Kevin Sullivan and I can't remember her name. Kenny?
I can't remember. I've traveled up and down the roads with Kevin Sullivan a few times, and the character from
Aaron?
television, the guy wrote up.
We talking about Chris's wife,
Chris's wife,
Nancy.
Kevin Sullivan's ex,
Nancy.
Nancy. Right.
Nancy, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that was
Oh, my bad. I always
Kevin
called her woman.
Kevin Sullivan's ex-wife, who married Chris Benoit, and of course Kevin, being the ex-husband, was jealous and went in there and wiped them all out.
Well, they booked them in angles together. They booked Nancy
Yep.
Yeah.
in those situations, and then it turned ugly for Kevin.
Like I said, this is why this is such an open topic. That's why nothing's ever closed, is because there's these other people who think and go, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? Did Georgia PD think about this? Did they think about questioning Kevin Sullivan? You know, there's so
Well, his
much
name
out
come up
there to be
enough that if they
investigated.
thought he had anything to do with it, I would think they would have done that. It's not like it's
Well-
a secret that everybody was thinking Kevin didn't have shit. You know, I don't for a minute don't think that slipped by them.
There are a lot of people in the comments. Again, just comments here saying that there were other people in the house.
Why are you letting this guy get by with $2 donations? I thought the minimum was $5. What's going on here?
This guy, the ghost right here. This guy is.
I know who the ghost is. I know who he is.
He keeps going and keeps asking questions. So with him, you know, I'm going to let him have some slack.
You're gonna let him slide. You're gonna put some slack in his noose, huh?
I tell you what, Kenny, he has stepped up to the plate here. He has asked the questions in the appropriate manner. That's why we're giving him the.
But he's also shortchanging you. The donations are supposed to be $5.
That's right. Actually, thank you, Kenny.
Go,
See, I'm playing Kenny as the CPA.
Well, okay. Kung Fu Society said Kevin was in Florida when it happened. I'm going to answer that without your donation. Kung Fu Society, you got to donate something. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your question. Who puts him in Florida? Where's his reliable source? Okay. I don't know any of this. That's why I'm giving this conjecture and my theory, because I don't know all the facts of the case. I'm pretty sure if I saw the case file.
Trolls in here that try to live for free. They're in here trying to start shit.
Well, this is the last question I'm answering. But if I saw the case file and I started reading through stuff, I guarantee I would find something and reopen the investigation, because there's too much unanswered just on my end without knowing a lot. And me as a former law enforcement officer would be asking these questions. And you don't necessarily take the finding of the original agency. That's happened for years on cold cases where people have picked up and find out where other agencies forgot to do something. DNA, saliva, I don't care, clothing, timing, everything. And other people have prosecuted cases that other departments have failed upon. That's why I'm keeping this in the air. You know, you can't go with the first finding.
Kevin Sullivan obviously knows that he was named as a suspect by fans and wrestlers alike. His name got dropped 1,000 times, even when it first happened. And I would think the motivation would be for Kevin to provide proof as to where he was. And I don't know that he has or has not done that. But I know if I were named in it, I'd be wanting to show where the hell I was and eliminate my name from consideration.
Okay, maybe he planned it. I mean, did you put OJ at the site? No. If it doesn't fit, must have quit. The gloves didn't fit. Okay, everything said OJ was there, but don't forget, us as citizens watching the trial saw everything. We saw the news. We saw everything. The jury, the 14 people, the 2 alternates and the 12 jurors were sequestered, and they only got to see what the judge allowed. And that's what they had to make their decision on. And they found OJ not guilty. But when he went to civil court, the preponderance of the evidence found him guilty as hell, and he lost everything. So that's a difference between a criminal court and a civil court. Okay, you only have to show 51% in a civil court. With a criminal court, you have to show beyond a reasonable doubt. So the defense attorney showed reasonable doubt, and that's why OJ got off. Was he there? I don't know. And Ron Goldman, listen, I was a busboy and I was a waiter for years. And if somebody left their sunglasses there, I didn't feel any responsibility to return the sunglasses to the customer at their home. Sorry, unless there was something else going on.
Yep. I got a from our friend Big Daddy, the Guardian of Chaos. He gave us a big donation. Thank you, Big Daddy. Excellent conversation, thought provoking. Rico is the real deal. Much respect, Kenny. I was a much better manager than you. Thanks.
Apparently not. Apparently not. I'm sitting here with 2 WWE stars, and you're sitting there with your thumb up your ass. So no, you are not.
No, Kenny, Big Daddy. He's a class act. He's a sharp guy.
No, he's not. He just insulted my 54 people that I sent to the WWE. He is a troll.
Okay,
you can be bought for $9.99. Shame on you, Master Amir. Shame on you.
Listen,
well, Guardian of Chaos, thank you. And I'm just trying to present the facts.
I'll send you 20 to block him. How about that? You're so easily bought and paid for.
Hey, Aaron, I'll send you 20 to block him. You appreciate this. Can you calm the situation down, Aaron?
Aaron, help.
You know, I don't ever think like that we've actually been on a conversation like this because, you know, Rico, Kenny's always talked about you. And in a way, I kind of felt after you left OVW, I was your, you know, pseudo replacement.
You were the replacement. Well, no, you were always labeled as shoot BS because even though I really never managed you, you got that quality, and Chris gave you this. You were shoot BS. You were shoot bowling, sir.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just nice to have someone that's had the same set of experiences as I have as far as rolling with BS. Because I don't feel alone. I don't feel alone.
Yeah.
I want to give. I motivated that guy. That's my money right there. I motivated that guy to do that donation. I want all that.
Oh, you did right there, Mr. Iron Bodybuilding. Thank you so much.
Yes, Aaron. Aaron, thoughts on what I just said? On your level, just your opinion, not facts. Thoughts on what you said or what I said. What do you think?
No, I think, again, your perspective, it carries much more weight behind it than the average person's, Rico, because of how you look at things, how you examine things, and your depth of knowledge with this. And it's always very interesting because, you know, America has always, and I say romanticized, there's a certain aura about wrestling, right? Some people, everyone has an opinion on it. It's either like, oh, I love it, or oh, that stuff, or you know, it lends itself to a very outlandish, glamorous, larger than life, just.
And those that have never been in it know way more than we do. Have you noticed that?
Right. Now, like as far as the Kevin Sullivan stuff goes, this is just my opinion. You know, and again, can we rule out the possibility of it happening? Absolutely not, because hey, none of us were there. But if I was in Kevin's position and because right or wrong, Rico, like with something like this, over time, it usually gets better, right? You're with someone, you're no longer with them, life goes on, you can be mad about it, but you then kind of, you know, move past it. The fact that Kevin and Chris did business together, as a wrestler, okay, if a situation like this happened and I'm now going to work with someone, yeah, you can make a lot of money and stuff, but in order to be able to do that, you still have to be able to protect them. You still have to be able to maintain a level of self-control around that. And again, if people were talking about him, possibly like the police would have, you know, looked into it or at least maybe questioned him. I don't, you know, again, I don't know, but I think that theory in particular lends itself to kind of like wrestling fantasy.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know, but
well, no, I'm asking your
that's what I'm
opinion.
saying, like,
That's all I'm asking.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my opinion on that theory.
Okay.
You can't rule it out, but if I was a betting man, I would just kind of chalk that up to wrestling dirt sheet chatter.
Yeah, good. No, we need your opinion. This is a no judgment zone. That's why I'm asking you. That's why I asked both of you gentlemen here, along with Amir, to be on the show to explore all possibilities. We don't want to come up with a theory and say ours is right, yours is wrong. No, we want I want you to express what you feel, and feel free to express it. You're not hurting my feelings. We're trying to help the public, maybe people who love Chris Benoit and stuff like that, understand a little bit. So feel free. I mean, your opinion counts. That's why we have you here.
Yep,
So
exactly.
don't be afraid.
As we go into the conclusion of the show, we'll go for about another 10 or 15 minutes. I want to encourage anybody else who has any questions, slap that super chat and ask them away, because we're going to be here for about another 12 minutes or so as we bring this to a close. So, yeah, feel free to jump in. What do you think? Do you think there was something else that went on? Share your opinions. Do that super chat, $2, and we'll read your opinion on the screen. But one of the things I did want to ask earlier, I thought about it, Aaron. So now that things, we're aware of concussions and things have changed now. In NWA, do you encourage the guys there to not take that many risks, high, what I mean, to protect from concussions? Has there been any protocols that have changed over the years?
Well, Chris Nowinski's name was mentioned, and Chris is a friend of mine. He's also a friend of Billy's, and Chris has been in our locker room. He's talked to us. He's given us some wonderful facts, things we can do to not only prevent concussions, but how to kind of, the proper way to deal with them to ensure the safety of the talent. And out of every tragedy, out of every tragedy, and this is, and I'm a man of faith as well. So I believe God can take that and ultimately create something good. Yeah. And when you look at everything Chris Nowinski's done, and you look at the WWE no chair shot to the head policy, and
good for them for that. That needed to be put in a long time ago.
Yeah.
What did it do? What's it accomplish?
Yeah. So like in NWA, to answer your question, it's like anything else, right? It's a calculated risk. I tend to be on the safer side in terms of when I put things together, only because I always thought it was kind of better to do it with psychology. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather give your mind a high spot or your emotional system a high spot than your eyeballs. And with some of the talent, they've been very good. Now, again, we're still, it's high impact, heavy hitting. We do have a style in the NWA, and across the board, I would say per capita, we're a little bit bigger than the average locker room. Where wrestlers tend to be a little more leaner these days and things like that. We got some hosses there, and so like with that, there's more impact anyway, and we're kind of hitting harder, and we've had some people come in from other companies and just like, oh wow, you guys you lay it in here, and that's all safe, but that's just kind of the style we work. But at the same time, it is all about taking care of your opponent, and that's what we're trying to implement from the top down. And if anyone's heard, if anyone has, sorry, go.
No, go ahead, continue. I'm about to cut in after you're done.
If anyone's hurt, if we think anyone's hurt, if we think anyone's concussed, they immediately go with a medical professional to get looked at, diagnosed, etc. So that's we're definitely keeping that at the forefront of who we are as a company, the safety of our talent.
Well, thank God for that. And I'm not saying we're stuntmen, but I've been in the stuntman business. I played in the Conan show at Universal, and I was Michael Keaton Batman at Six Flags. And you are going to get hurt. I'm sorry. That's the stuntman business, and we are professionals as wrestlers. People say it's fake. Let me tell you, people, it's not fake. Might be choreographed, but it's not fake. You get slammed on the mat. Don't come from the top rope. I don't care. You get slammed on the mat 4 or 5 days a week. It's going to take a toll on you.
You're the only person to ever throw me from the top rope. You're the only one that ever did that.
How was the ring?
You shut up. Stop.
The ring broke.
No need for that.
The Earth's axis shift.
As Cornette said, Bolin knocked the Earth off its axis, and I think we had an early winter that year.
I got to cut in right here, Kenny, because I recognize this name. I think is this Randy the Macho Man Satterley?
Randy the Macho Man Satterley. Yeah, he was in my home a couple of weeks ago and bought the autographed John Cena picture from John Cena and John Cena Sr. And of course, you've got a troll in here claiming I don't send any money to the Philippines. Rico, do you think I don't send money to the Philippines?
My phone is loaded with receipts that you sent to the Philippines.
Professional trolls. They're never going to donate.
Sent them to me. So whatever he makes, I'm going to tell you guys.
On the show to tell you what they got, you clowns.
Yeah, he shows me. I got pictures. So believe what you want to believe. I don't want to make believers out of you. I just know I believe.
Do me a favor. If y'all have any respect for me whatsoever, block Kung Fu, and then block the other clown that came and I send fake receipts. They've been trolling this whole fucking show, and I've seen about enough of it. And if you got any respect for me whatsoever, block these fucking clowns.
Block them, America.
Vince Leroy Dooley, get him because he's a troll. The one that's jeeping with the Mountain Timer, he's a fucking professional troll. And I block all the stars on my show so they can't get on. And now here they are.
Watch the F word, Kenny.
Yeah. Okay, so they're
gone.
Did watch it.
They have been blocked.
I know you watched it and you said it. Yeah. But I understand your passion. So
I hope so.
Well, to everybody,
I don't let this happen to my people on my show. I don't let this crap happen. I'll go with crap.
Yeah.
This is our first live show, Kenny.
All right, I understand.
We got to understand this.
Yeah.
So, okay. So,
sorry, Aaron.
I'm going to tell you once, Kenny's not a fake. That's it. I believe in him with everything I am. He does send these people everything he says. I get the receipts. I get the pictures. Okay. That's it. Okay. With the other thing, like I said, we're just trying to raise awareness for what's going on with Chris Benoit. That's it.
And by the way, the question, me, Rico, and Cena were on TV in the Philippines for about 5 years. That's how we kind of got a little famous over there.
I could go to the Philippines and take pictures myself if I could. I would on what Kenny does. But right now, I can't.
Yeah.
But you know what? The day might be coming that I'm going to the Philippines and I'll show you everything Kenny Bolin has done.
Get rid of Jake.
You call me a liar. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
get rid of Jake.
Kenny,
rid of Jake.
See right there, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. He's sticking up for you. Do you see that right there, Kenny?
That's nice of him. I appreciate that.
There you go.
But Jake is a troll. Jake's been a troll forever.
Okay, now, what was the question I was trying to answer before I was rudely interrupted by those two dismounted people?
Thank you, Master, for doing that. I appreciate it.
We were talking about concussions and the NWA protocol.
Okay, now what I want to say is I thank you for listening to Chris Nowinski. I wrestled with him. I was a friend with him, and he left the WWE because he got one, and he brought light. And he brought light to other than steroid rage for Chris Benoit and other people. Other professionals, Hernandez, football players, everybody. He has shined the light on this traumatic brain injury that needs to be seen and seen for what it is. And without knowledge, we are just stupid human beings. knowledge. And this is what Chris is giving us is knowledge. I am glad he went to NWA. I'm glad he talked to your wrestlers, professionals, because that's what knowledge is power. And if your wrestlers wrestle with knowledge and still do their amazing things, but they do it under care, guidance, and direction, that's what you guys are for, Aaron, is to keep them in line so they do nothing extravagant that gets them hurt or their person or opponent hurt. You see, that is the start of bringing things around. The NFL did it, listening to Chris Nowinski. Now they have different padded helmets to protect the players who get hit in the head. Now there's rules, leading with the head, everything. You can't do that no more. Why do they do that? That's because of the injuries and they're learning from the past. I'm glad NWA is now taking and embracing that and taking care of their personnel.
Yep.
I thank you for that.
It's a good one. Yeah. Thank you. Like I said,
Rico, there's 3 wrestlers I manage that call me dad. Who are the 3 wrestlers that call me dad?
Me, and
it was you, Chris Nowinski, because I managed him for a short period of time, and believe it or not, the Miz got in the ring. He called me dad during a promo.
Oh, he stole my material.
I think he did. I think he stole it from you.
Stole my material.
Rico, gentlemen, I'm going to jump in right there. One of our fans did say they want another hour of Chris Benoit. But while we're sitting here, definitely, Aaron, I'd love for you to come back on for our next live show, and then we can continue. There's plenty more I want to discuss with you about the NWA, about what you're doing, what's coming up in the NWA, and maybe we can touch a little bit more on this at that time, Rico.
Okay.
What'd you think?
So much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Aaron,
you always
please
had
come
the 2
back.
dogs. I remember the black one.
Absolutely.
You always had the brown one.
Absolutely.
No, I've got 3 of them. I've got a silver. I've had 2 Great Danes. I've had 3, but one passed. She was about 10 years old. They don't live long. They live about 7 or 8. So she passed. And I have Apollo, Hercules, which is Hercules is a mastiff mix. This is Odin. I just rescued him from the local animal shelter 4 weeks ago. Odin, come here.
Chris down here, the ghost.
And he's only 2 years old. He's got 2 more years of growing. He's 130 pounds.
You're going to be able to ride him to the towns.
Yeah.
I probably will. I'll use him for my cowboy mounted shooting.
Scooby's a Great Dane boxer mix, and he's as big as he's going to get, I think.
Odin's going to be about 175, 180.
Oh yeah, the fish are still there. I'll answer that because Rico, you didn't hear.
They're not on camera.
Yeah, they're not on camera tonight.
They'll be on next week.
Next week, go back to our recording. Oh, actually, next week we've already got that one in the can. So join us for that next Sunday. Rob Van Dam joins us, and we talk the satanic world of rock and roll. My goodness, that's a doozy. That one we talked about there. But that'll be on
that dog will knock you out.
What was that, Kenny?
Look at the paws on that dog. That dog will knock you out.
Oh yeah,
he's big. I'm telling you, he's huge. He stands up. He puts his feet on my shoulder, and he's above my head.
He is just sweet. Look at him.
But he's just beautiful. I mean, look at him. He's just a sweetheart.
I wish Scooby were in here. He looks just like Scooby.
They were going to put him down. Can you believe they were going to put a dog like this down?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I hate your shit.
Julie and I, we saved him when we went to New York City. We had Julie's sister go in there and get him before he was put down while I was in New York City.
Glad you made it, man. I'm glad you made it because I hate to hear that.
Yeah. No,
thing,
look how beautiful he is.
We'll talk about that, and at some point in the future, we'll find an animal rescue, Rico, and we'll try and raise some funds for them. We'll
I got just the one in mind.
Every dog I've ever had is a rescue dog. Every single one of them.
All 3 of mine are
going back to Ziggy.
Yep.
You remember Ziggy and Mookow.
All 3 are mine. Yep. All three of my dogs are rescue, and my new horse. My new horse is a rescue. Three
Okay,
Willows.
we got one little last one come in right here from Alex Cosentino. Any Booker T stories? Question to all. Very quickly, 1 minute. If anybody's got a quick Booker T story, 1
Aaron,
minute.
Kenny, you take this one.
I've always gotten along with him, and at the Hall of Fame, for some reason, I was always like seated by like him and his family, so they were just wonderful people. And I just always remember like every Hall of Fame, oh hey, and we nothing but a good time. But I don't have not a bad word to say.
No, I
Charmel?
never saying for a bad word. I'm just saying anything about Booker T.
Charmel was with us at OVW for a brief period of time, and Charmel was always a class act. Booker T did a couple of Six Flags shows with us and was always very kind, very nice. And his first day in back in at an OVW show, Booker T was in Cincinnati at a casino, and it was his first night. He was down here doing some tune-up matches. And Booker T took my son backstage, got the real WCW world title, the big heavy one, the real one, and posed for pictures with that on my son on like a Kodak Instamatic. I don't know who had that camera, but they took a picture, gave it to my son, and that just made his day that Booker posed with the real title with him, because that real title doesn't come out too often. And Booker had it back then, and he was always a class act with us.
All right. Okay. All right, gentlemen. We have reached the top of hour number 2. So we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this, the very first live Style in the Podcast. We will be back live in 2 weeks. And
Let's go 35 more seconds. I'm
35 more seconds. Well,
leave it to my dad to extend. I just gotta say, Aaron, it's great to see you again. I am so glad
Looking good.
where
Looking
you
good.
are. Yeah, you're looking good. I am so glad what you're doing with NWA, and that you have a great relationship with Bill. Keep it up. Keep it up. The wrestling world needs people like you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We need the NWA for sure. We need
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah,
We're trying.
Yeah, absolutely. So
This was a blast.
yeah,
Aaron,
Yeah.
You know what my motto is?
What's that?
Do you know what my motto is?
No.
What the mind can conceive, the heart can achieve.
Wow.
Yeah.
My motto is if it ain't free, it ain't me.
The 18-inch connection, they say, right? That 18-inch connection, heart and mind.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do it, Aaron.
one
Take
thing
that.
I'm remembering.
Run with it.
One more thing from Randy Satterley. The deaths were announced the day before their bodies were found. So is this factual?
I heard that.
Okay.
I can't confirm or deny that. And that could be hogwash, because how do you announce a dead body if you ain't found it? It ain't confirmed. Is it no police? There's no police department that's going to announce an expired person before they're found. So I'm going to call hogwash on that.
There's definitely more to this story. But ladies and gentlemen, we have to conclude this episode. I have been one of your co-stars, the Master Amir, along with my co-star, the stylist Rico Constantino, and our 2 wonderful guests. Ladies and gentlemen, the first to appear, NWA superstar, Mr. Aaron Stevens. An absolute pleasure to have you here. And of course, the OVW
My dad.
the Star Maker himself, Mr. Kenny
The
Bowler.
Star Maker.
The child support check is in the mail, Rico. I got to get caught up.
Okay. And from Odin and the stylist, you've already heard my motto. God bless everybody, and thank you for tuning in for our first live show.
Yeah, God bless you all. We will see you next week right here on Styling.